Yo, what is up, everybody? I am Ace from the West Coast, and this is the ASAP Sports Minute, and I am joined today by none other than jaymac. What's going on,
Jaymac out
jaymac?
west.
What's going
Not
on?
much. Got home from the 9 to 5, repping the All Sports All Plays Network
Let's hit
T-shirts.
it.
Hey, let's everyone that wants one. Let's get one out there. They're $25. It's a deal, man. And we can get our name out there. You guys can support us. Um, they're great. They're comfortable. So hit us up and let us know if you want one.
So before we get started tonight, I just want everybody to know that tonight's show is being brought to you in part by Suzanne Paparazzi Jewelry. All products are lead and nickel free. All products are $5. Special offer for ASAP Sports viewers. Free matching earrings when you buy a necklace. Order now at paparazziaccessories.com, and that code for you is 160920. All
Yeah, and
right.
let me just say on that, by the way, that she's going to be doing a live. Um, and we're working it out to promote that here on the network. And we'll see how that goes. We'll let you all know when that happens.
And we are looking forward to that. I'll tell you what. I really hope that, especially with these special offers that we're offering everybody, when you're an ASAP Sports viewer, I think this would turn out to be great for you if you came and watched and saw what she had to offer. All right,
Yes.
so obviously the first thing we're going to talk to you about tonight is we're going to talk about the MLB playoffs, and we're going to go ahead and we're going
Playoffs.
to playoffs, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to start on the AL side of things. So the first series that we're going to talk about in the AL is the Tampa Bay Rays against the New York Yankees. So this one, uh, everybody, for some reason, over more than over half the world, and especially if you watch all the baseball shows, everybody has the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series, which most of them are saying that the Dodgers were going to take it in seven. When you look at this series now, man, I'll tell you what, the Rays, the Rays are showing why they were the number one seed in the AL East. They are
Yeah.
showing why they were there, and they're showing why they were as good as they are.
As good as
There,
advertised, I think. Yeah.
yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot of people who really gave them a shot, especially against the Yankees, with how deep the Yankees are with LeMahieu and Stanton and Aaron Judge and Sanchez and Torres. I mean, their lineup just goes on and on and on and on. And
Right,
as you
right.
saw, the Yankees got healthy. The Yankees fairly easily beat the Indians. And then game one against the Rays, when Stanton hit that grand slam and they went up 9-4, I'm like, well, there's that patented Yankee lineup that everybody was talking about, to where they're just going to hit home runs and score run after run after run. And then the Rays come out in game two, and they actually played really, really well against the Yankees. Game three, they beat the Yankees again. All they need is one more, because this round is best of five. But do you see this series going to five, or do you think that the Rays are
No.
going to win the next one?
Um, I think if the Rays are gonna get a win, it's gonna be in Game 3. Um,
You
Max
mean
Fried,
game
what
four?
Max? Yeah. Um,
The Rays.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry. This series will go 5. I was already somewhere
Right?
else, but
Yeah. No, you're fine.
yeah. No, I think. Yeah. This series will go 5 games.
You know, the way I feel though is that I truly believe that if the Rays want to win this series and beat the Yankees, I feel like they're gonna have to win Game Four also. I feel like they're gonna have to beat them 3-1, because I feel like if they don't, the Yankees are gonna win the next two.
Yeah. And now, is Garrett Cole pitching Game 4, or would he come back in Game 5? It's Game 5, right?
Yeah. So Garrett Cole, from my understanding, is that they're not going to start Garrett Cole in Game Four. If it goes Game Five,
Yeah.
he'll start in Game Five, and that's not. And if you're the Rays, that's not what you want.
Right, and that was my point. That's kind of why I brought that up. Because you got to beat him 3-1 now. Because you go into Game 5 against Garrett Cole, he's gonna be on, and you're not gonna win that game. So yeah, you gotta beat him 3-1. That's the only way you're gonna beat this team.
Which, so this is the way I see it. To me, I know that Blake Snell would go on short rest. But here's my thing. If you want to finish the series now and you know that the Yankees are not bringing out Garrett Cole, now would be your chance to bring out your ace and be like, you know what, we are bringing out Blake Snell. We're going to bring him out and we're going to end this right here in Game 4. I would do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Game 4 is your game to win. You take the series.
Yep. All right. So then the next series we have the Oakland A's actually going up against the Houston Astros. Man, I'll tell you what, this series to me has actually been a little bit of a disappointment, obviously, because I did have the Rays and the A's in the AL Championship. Right now, the Oakland A's are down 2-1. Houston's actually playing really, really good, but here's the bad part. Even though Houston's up 2-1, how many people are going to look at this and be like, is Houston back at their old tricks again? Are they doing this straight up again? It's just one of it's going to always be there. It's going
It's
to
gonna
always
always
be
be
one of
there.
those questions.
It's like the Patriots in the NFL. It's the same thing. Like, what did they use this time to get an advantage? And it's an unfortunate thing because I do think that Houston's a good team, and I think they have good players, and I think they can do it legitimate. They can be legitimate with it. So, I personally think it's legitimate this time, and if they make it there, they deserve it. But you're always going to have those questions, no doubt.
Yeah, I believe that the biggest thing that has hurt the Astros right now, and their pitching staff has still been pitching good. Don't get me wrong on that. Their pitching staff has been good, but I believe what they're missing right now is that true ace, and they had that in Verlander. So without having Verlander, that truly hurts them at the moment.
I completely agree.
So right now Houston's up. It's 2-1 at the moment. So I don't know. I want to say that Oakland bounces back in Game 4 again and brings it to 2-2. But it's a tall task. As we've seen, like the Astros right now are scoring runs by the droves. They've hit like 12 home runs in 3 games against Oakland.
Yeah, right.
Oakland doesn't have that type of firepower. That's the problem. They're not a home run team. Houston is.
Yep. That's a major difference for sure.
So
And just a quick shout out to someone who doesn't normally watch the show. We have Mr. Curley, Lauren Curley. We affectionately know him as Chief.
yes.
So thanks for watching, Chief.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, man. So, okay, so Vicky Schaefer. Thank you, Vicky, for responding, and you are saying that the Astros are going to win 4. And you know what? It would not surprise me if the Astros actually won it in 4. It really wouldn't. With the way the Astros are swinging the bat right now, no doubt, I could probably see them winning this in 4. Even though, like I said, I would still like to see Oakland win it. I just don't think they have enough.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so now how about we jump over to the National League? And just because Lauren Curley is watching, the one thing that so the series we'll start with in the National League is we will start with the Dodgers and the Padres because we all know his favorite team is the Dodgers. He loves the Dodgers. This Dodgers team is a scary team. They're a very, very scary team. And if you remember, jaymac, we basically had them picked to basically go all the way.
Yep.
As much as we are Atlanta fans, And I want to know in my heart, I'm telling myself I know we can beat them, and I know we can. With our lineup and the way Atlanta hits the ball, I think we can. But the Dodgers have the pitching staff. That's the problem. So, right now, if I look, last time I looked at the score, the Dodgers were actually up, and yeah, it's 6-5 at the moment with 2 outs. The Dodgers are up by 1, so they're gonna probably go up 2-0. The Padres are gonna have to win in Game 3. I don't know if they're gonna have enough, but I will give credit to the Padres on something. Nobody saw the Padres playing this good this year.
No, no, and so hats off to them. They definitely deserved everything they got, and if this is as far as they go, yeah, that's
Hats off to them, man. Hats off.
you know, heck of a season. When you're supposed to be the bottom dweller of a division and you end up in the playoffs, so you know, tip your caps. Congratulations to the Padres, whether or not they move on.
I think what really, really helped them was some trades that they made. The Clevenger trade right now, as much as I thought that was brilliant, that hasn't really helped them much in the playoffs at all because the guys pitched like 1.5 innings in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He
It hasn't.
injured his elbow again and he left. So if they had Clevenger, they might be able to sneak a win in there. But he was not able to pitch enough in that first game to make a difference. He
For
got
sure.
out. He got out of the first inning without allowing a run. He might have gone maybe 5 or 6 innings without allowing a run, so it might have made it a little bit of a difference in that game. But I don't know if the Padres have a good enough pitching staff to beat the Dodgers.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The one. Did you see who was pitching tonight for the Dodgers? So tonight, pitching for the Dodgers was Clayton Kershaw. That we all know that when Clayton Kershaw reaches the playoffs, he's not the typical pitcher that he normally is. For some reason, I don't know what it is. I do not know what it is. In the playoffs, when Kershaw gets there, he turns into like another man, and he's not that prototypical ace that you would see. I don't know
Yeah.
what happens to him. I don't know.
I don't know. There's, you go across more than just baseball. You go across other sports, and the guys just they don't seem to play the same in the playoffs. And I don't know if it's the pressure that gets to them, or that they're trying too hard. And that could be Clayton Kershaw. He pitching is one of those things that sometimes comes and goes, but he might be trying a little too hard to hit his spots, and then he's overthrowing the ball, and you don't want to do that either. So.
Yeah, and I don't know. As much as I hate to say it, I think it's going to be a clean sweep of the Dodgers. I think it's going to be 3-0. I don't think the Padres are going to pull one out. All right, so going off from that series now, we'll jump into the Atlanta versus Miami. And we had previously talked about this. Being Atlanta fans, we said this was a series that we wanted. We said we wanted to play Miami. We did not want to play Chicago. Our pitching staff, I would say in Game 1, Max Fried, he struggled. That was pretty much the first time that you've seen him struggle this year. So
Yeah, and he doesn't have a lot of playoff experience, and so he's one of those guys that even if you go back, even if you go back to the, I know maybe I'm being a homer, being an Atlanta fan, but you go back to the greatest rotation of all time, and when you have Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox, and you go back to each one of their first couple starts in the playoffs, they weren't very good either. So it's going to come with time.
No, but I feel that if Fried is going to get better as he pitches in the postseason, he's going to get better because as we saw in the first round against the Reds, he pitched fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He pitched great.
Yeah, you're gonna have you're gonna have a clunker once in a while. That's just that. It's rare that a guy goes You're right, Vicky Schaefer. I apologize. I did not mean to
Avery,
forget
yes.
Steve Avery, but
Steve Avery, of
Avery is a
course.
very good pitcher. He just
Yes.
wasn't part of that, 3 rotation. But anyway, Max Fried. So yeah, you're gonna have a clunker once in a while. You're not always gonna go out and pitch great every single game. So you have a clunker, but you still, when you can give up 4 runs and still come back and your team still wins the game, you're going to do fine. You're going to do just fine. And so what I was saying is, if the Marlins are going to win a game, they're going to have to win game 3 because you're going to bring Fried back for game 4 and Ian Anderson for game 5. And let's face it, if we go to game 5 and Ian Anderson's on the mound, the Marlins can forget it. The dude is just he pitches and I am just like, every time I'm just more and more impressed with the way he pitches.
That
And
dude,
I'm
yes.
so excited for next year. I cannot wait. Can you imagine our rotation?
Mike Soroka,
Yeah.
Max Fried, Ian Anderson, and then
Probably Kyle Wright at fourth.
which has been getting better. He's been pitching better.
If we get the good Kyle Wright in game 3, the series is over. So,
Yeah. But the one thing I do agree with you on is when Ian Anderson got called up to come up and pitch, I didn't know what to expect. I knew how well he was pitching in the minors. I knew that. But I didn't know if he was ready to pitch in the majors, and I'll tell you what, this guy has come out and he has shocked a lot of people and shown you this dude has got the stuff and he is big league ready. He is big league ready.
First pitcher in Major League history to beat the Red Sox and the Yankees in his first 2 starts.
Yeah, and so Vicky Schaefer, just to let you know, jaymac, Vicky Schaefer is actually an Atlanta Braves fan also. She's been an Atlanta Braves fan for a very, very long time. And she's actually saying that she would not mind next year, she would not mind us going out and getting a Trevor Bauer, which I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't either. And I think that's a great segue into our next segment, which was going to be Acuna
and
the Marlins.
So with Acuna and the Marlins, so here's the thing I want to say on that whole situation. I understand the dude did a bat flip, right? I get all that. Does it matter if he did a bat flip? No, the thing is that is frustrating me the most, and I think it's frustrating Acuna, I think it's frustrating Snitker, and I completely understand why they're getting frustrated with the whole thing. The dude's been hit by the Marlins pitchers 5 times, and every time he's been beamed, it seems like he gets hit by at least one time by him in every series that they play. So explain to me how every time he gets beamed by a Marlins pitcher, they always go, oops, I'm sorry, the ball slipped. At what point do you be like, okay, you're drilling this guy on purpose, and you know you are, and you're not wanting to be a man and come out and say it?
Unfortunately, I think it's part of baseball, but I think it's on the umpires. Like if they need to start just throwing the warnings out. Like as soon as Acuna gets hit, warn both sides, no more. That's it. You're done. There's your warning. But the bat flip thing, here, in the words of Trevor Bauer, and that's why I wanted to go to the segue here. I don't remember his exact words, but his wording was something like, when a guy hits if you don't like a guy hitting 495 foot home run off of you, and you don't like the bat flip, then get him out. Right. Period.
I mean, I get how when people do bat flips, pitchers will think he's showing me up. That's not what he's doing. He's not showing you up. Did you see that bomb? That was an absolute blast. He obliterated that thing.
Doesn't matter if he is showing you up, man. The point is, you threw a fastball over the plate. He swung at it, and he blasted it almost 500 feet opposite field out of center field.
Right.
You don't like it, don't throw that pitch and get him out.
And yes, and this is one thing that I do agree with Vicky on too, is that she's saying that they hide behind the warnings though. And you know what? That is true. Because as soon as Acuna gets hit, every single time, the umpires always come out and say a warning for Atlanta and a warning for Miami. So what does that mean at that time? We never get a chance to go out and hit any of their guys back because they're always hiding behind the warnings. So
Yep.
they never get that chance. So my question is, when does this finally stop? When does Miami finally look at this and go, okay, enough's enough. We got to stop hitting this guy. Or the league has to step in at some point and be like, you know what, this is enough. You're drilling this guy every time. Obviously, the dude hit a bomb in the first inning. And then you're going to hit him in the third inning his next at bat? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And you need to own up to it.
I'm sorry, but if you're Snitker right now, and if I'm Snitker and I am I'm managing this team, give me a warning. I don't care. I'm bringing Luke Jackson in. We all know that we don't want to.
Now, keep in mind, Luke Jackson did not make the roster.
Yeah, that's true.
Playoffs.
You know what? Pick a reliever. It doesn't matter. Go out there and tell him, I don't care if you get thrown out. You're hitting the next guy because you're going to defend our guy.
Yeah, you find the worst reliever you have on the roster, you bring him out, and you let him get nailed. Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
That's defending your guy.
At some point, enough is enough. And you could see that Snitker was pretty hot. And just in case everybody is not sure where all of this is coming from, this stems back to, it was last year. It stems back to last year where Acuna got hit in the elbow because he let off with 9 home runs.
Yeah, he did. But by the way, just so to clarify this for everybody, it started last year, but in Acuna's career, he has hit 19 home runs against the Marlins.
Yes.
That includes the playoffs.
No, I completely
And
get that. But
that's why they don't like it.
But Acuna was on that tear of leading off for it was like 6 straight games with a home run. He was coming up on the record, and the Marlins were like, nope, we're not allowing you to break that record against us. So they come up and they drill him in the arm, knowing, and the worst part is it was the first pitch of the game. The first pitch of the game. And then you say it slipped. Come on, bro. It was a fastball right at the elbow.
Yeah.
You know it was on purpose. And that's when it all started.
No doubt. No doubt.
So at some point, enough is enough. And I think this comment was really, really funny because you brought up the Luke Jackson thing, and Vicky's like, ha ha ha. He might miss him though.
That's true. And if we have a runner on third, then it's driving a run in because it'll be a wild pitch.
Right.
But speaking of that, I want to tell you, everyone talked about Freddie Freeman this year and Acuna, and I'm not taking anything away that either of those guys did during the regular season. And Marcell Ozuna, not taking anything away he did. But I'll tell you right now, if Atlanta wants to move forward and they want to be a contender every year, we need a good catcher. If we don't re-sign Travis d'Arnaud, there's something wrong with our front office.
That
guy is unreal. He's the first catcher in Major League history to be on base 5 times and have 4 RBIs in a playoff game.
He's batting like a 427 in the playoffs.
Travis d'Arnaud is just he's this series MVP, and it doesn't matter how many games it goes. He's already won it, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. The dude's hit a homer in 2 straight games. And
he got 6 RBIs in the first 2 games?
Yeah, and the dude has been unreal. Freaking real. He's batting a 427 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. So transitioning away from that. So I think we all have. Okay. So before we go on to that, do you have Atlanta with the clean sweep?
Everything in me wants to say yes.
I am going to say I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to say.
I just there's like 55% of me that doesn't trust Kyle Wright completely.
Right? Yeah.
And so
and this would be his first postseason appearance.
Yeah.
So
So to
um,
me, if the Marlins win, it's going to be in Game 3. But they're not going to win after that. Atlanta's going to take it 4 at the most for Atlanta.
mhm. All right. So transitioning away from NLB, um, now we're going to jump in and we're going to talk a little bit about the French Open for people who want to hear about that. So for those of you who didn't really get to watch any matchups today, there was actually a upset in this one. The number 12 Dominic Schwartzman actually beat Theme. It was a great match, but and it went 5 sets.
Yeah. Um, and you know what? The funny thing about tennis is you can be the greatest player in the world, and every one of these, it just seems like it's every one of these tournaments that comes up. Some underdog,
Hmm.
not the greatest player, someone you've never heard of, beats a big name. And tennis is so enduring. There's so much endurance for tennis, and it's a where the ball falls and how much you put on it. I don't think ever walking into a tournament there's a complete hands down favorite to win a tournament.
No, and you know what? I completely agree with you because if you know that today there was actually an unranked guy um, by the name of Janok Center. He actually was unranked and he made it all the way to the semifinals.
Yeah.
However, he ran into that bad man of Nadal. So
Yeah.
honestly, you have an unranked player against Nadal. Is that really gonna be a competition? Really? I mean,
It's not even really fair, honestly. Nadal, he's going to run you all over the court and then just drop it. And
well, yeah, because Nadal's coming in at number 2. Now, Schwartzman was 12. He beat Thame, which was number 3.
mm,
So now in the next round, since Nadal uh, beat Sinner, now you're going to actually see Nadal against Schwartzman in the next round. So you're going to actually see 12 against 2. Now, how much of a chance do you actually give Schwartzman? Now, I want to give him credit for making it this far as
mhm,
a 12,
mhm.
as a 12. But now you're running into basically one of the best tennis players of all time.
Yeah. I mean, how much of a chance do you give him? Probably not very much.
I mean, he
But
might win a set. I give him a set. I think he'll win a set.
if he wins a set, and I'll tell you what, if he takes him to 5, or if he takes him where
That would
you
be
go,
unreal.
you go 5 and then you got to keep going because of the volleys. I mean, that right there is a win in itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes in the semifinals, um, it actually dictates who's going to win the finals. Because if you got a guy that goes 5 sets, 6 sets, 7 sets, and on the other side, your other guy only went 3, well, he's obviously going to be more rested than the guy that went 6 or 7. So um, Schwartzman can still have a play in who wins the final, depending on how well he can play.
Yeah, I don't see this going 5. I don't see it going 5. Schwartzman might win a set. He might be able to pull off one, but I don't see it going 5. I think Nadal has him. Like, it's
Yeah, I mean, I don't
they'll
think
go for it
anyone's,
most.
I don't think anyone sees it going 5, but stranger things have happened. Let's just say that.
But I'm telling you now, if Schwartzman at least gets a set in there, he should be happy.
Oh yeah, yeah. How many players outside of the top 5 right now in the world? How many players can say I beat Nadal in a set of tennis? Doesn't matter if you won the game. How many of them could say I beat him in a set? Because he doesn't lose many sets either. So
Yeah, there's not a lot of people.
there's still that accomplishment.
Hmm. So then the next one, the next set we had going away from Nadal was we actually had the number 5 Stefanos against the number 3 Andre Rublos. And so this one, Andre Rublos actually lost to Stefanos in 3 sets. This was one of those matches that going in you thought it was going to be a lot better because you have a 3 against 5. They're both actually fairly decent tennis players. Obviously, they're no Nadal or Djokovic, but they're decent.
Well, you have to be decent if you're going into a tournament and you're ranked in the top 5. Obviously, you're a good player, so you get 3 against 5, and there's typically not a huge drop off 1 to 5 in men's tennis right now. I'm here to tell you, there's 1 and there's 1A. There's not even a 1 and 2
No,
to
it's a
me.
1 and 1A. Yeah.
It's 1 and 1A, and then there's a huge
But
drop off after
yeah,
that.
I was
But
gonna say it's such a far gap
yeah,
between 1 and 1. See, and yeah, I would say like 1A and maybe 1A minus, and
yeah,
then it drops way down here to 2.
yeah.
Like
Because the only other one I'm going to throw in with, Djokovic and Nadal. The only one I throw in there is Federer. The 3 of them are going to run any tournament that they're in. So
well, yeah, I mean Federer would obviously be number 2, but the point being there is that Federer still I don't truly believe that Federer is still on their level.
yeah, right.
So now with Stefanos winning this, and then Djokovic actually winning his match against Pablo Busta, which
Gusta.
which was number 17 coming in, and Djokovic, as we know, Djokovic is number 1. It usually goes between Djokovic and Nadal between 1 and 2, and this time Djokovic had it. He was going against the number 17 and Pablo. Now, here's the cool thing though. Pablo was actually able to win a set though. So he did get it to 4. So even being at a number 17 going up against the 1, you get to take it to 4 sets. Be happy. Be happy.
Yep.
You
Yep.
took something away. You won a set. Congratulations. You obviously knew you weren't going to beat the guy. So, but you got to be happy. You got a set.
Mm-hmm.
Which is now going to set up for what I truly believe, and because now we're going to have Stefanos against Djokovic. And so on this one, I don't even think it's going to really be close. I think Djokovic is going to win it in 3 sets. Nadal's going to win it, and then you're going to get Djokovic against Nadal
Yeah.
again.
I will say though that I do believe Stefanos' time is coming. He's a great tennis player, and he's gonna get there. He's gonna come into some of these tournaments in the top 3 or 4, and so he's gonna get there. It's gonna take him a little bit, like it does everyone else, but don't take anything away from Stefanos. He's a great tennis player.
No, but his time to me will probably be when Nadal or Djokovic decide to take a step back, or they start getting a little bit older to where they're starting to slow down and they can't play as well as they used to.
Well,
But
yeah, yeah,
but the thing is you're starting to see tennis players now playing into later ages. So
later ages. But what they do is they prepare themselves for all the major opens and tournaments. They don't play all of them all year like the younger ones do. And that's really a time when, a guy like Stefanos, who's an up and coming tennis player, that's when he can make some strides, and he could say, hey, I might not win the US Open or the French Open, but I can steal one away going into the Barclays, the Barclays Open, where I can come in and steal one away when these guys aren't in it. And that'll up my rankings in the world. So, there's definitely things, and there's still a lot of money in those tournaments. So it's not like he's going to, completely be a slouch at that point.
no, but can you imagine what this would do for Stefanos if he was managed to steal a win from a Djokovic? Imagine what that would do for his career.
Yeah.
Like right now, that would be like his biggest victory that basically he could be like, wow, I beat the number one tennis player in the world in Djokovic.
Yeah. Well, to me, that would be like Appalachian State being Michigan. They're still remembered for that 13 years later. So you look at that.
All right, so let's all just be prepared with the French Open. I'm making my predictions now, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be Nadal and Djokovic in the basically in the finals, and I have Djokovic taking it, and I think it's gonna be really, I think it's gonna be really close.
Yeah, I think so. It'll go 5 sets for sure.
But do you have Djokovic winning or Nadal winning?
For the sake of for the sake of argument and ratings, I'll go Nadal.
Woo! And since you're going to Dahl, just for the sake of it, since you're going to Dahl, I'll take Djokovic.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. So now going away from tennis, we're actually so for the first time ever on this network right now, we're going to actually talk a little bit about NASCAR. So right now, when you look at the top three, because and the reason why we really want to talk about it at this current time is because since a lot of playoffs are going on, you know, you have the NBA finals, you have the MLB playoffs. NASCAR is actually in their playoffs at the moment too, what they call their playoffs. And
Is it
so
still? It's still set up right where it's 10 races,
yeah,
and you go off
so
those. Yeah.
so you go from 12 and then you go down to your 8 and then you know you go down to your 7 and your 5 and your
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
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 So they start dropping off. So your top 3 people right now is Denny Hamlin, which on the air he's won 7 times on the air, and then number 2, yeah, and this guy like the number 2, once I say him, it's like unreal. It's like the guy doesn't go away. It doesn't matter how old he's getting, he does not go away. It's Kevin Harvick.
Hmm.
The dude is just like he's got a fast car every single year. One of the best racers on the track. The dude never gets credit. Um, but he's obviously one of the top racers now. He's sitting at number 2. He's won 9 races on the year. The only bad part about NASCAR this year was that it was pretty much dominated by 2 guys. It was dominated by Hamlin with 7 wins and Harvick with 9 wins. Uh,
Yeah.
then the next closest behind them was Keselowski, um, and Brad Keselowski only had 4 wins. So that's how much of a difference it actually was. That's how much that Tomlin, or not Tomlin, sorry, Hamlin and Harvick have been dominating this whole entire season. And then number 3, you actually come to Chase Elliott. He's actually 3rd in points right now, but the guy has only won 2 races this whole entire year. Now Harvick is actually only 20 points behind Hamlin, and Elliott is 44 points behind Hamlin.
Hmm.
I think it's set to be a great finish. So, if I had to look at basically the final 4 right now, Kozlowski, I know is sitting. If I remember right, I think he's sitting at like number 6 or 7 in the rankings. But when it comes to that final 4, I think Kozlowski somehow manages to get in that 4.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just something tells me he's going to manage to get up there in that
Well,
top 4.
well, good competitors do that, NASCAR or not, and yeah, I mean, driving the car is about about half the battle. There, you have to have a good pit crew also. Um, but if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. And Kozlowski's one of those guys that's been. It seems like he's been around forever. I swear I've been hearing his name since high school, um, which I could be a little off on that, but he's he's just one of those guys that hangs around. And it's the same like you're saying, you know, Kevin Harvick.
A long
But
time.
I know I've been hearing that name at least 15 years, and he's
Jimmy
just
Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson. I mean, they just keep hanging around, and so Yeah, it's definitely great. It's going to be great. It's going to be some great races, and if you're a NASCAR fan, check them out. It's going to be a good time.
And the interesting thing about it is, I feel like people don't understand the art of NASCAR. So so when you start talking about it, uh, it's like people say, "Really? I'm not going to watch that." Well, and I think it's truly because people don't understand the art of it. They
Yeah,
don't. People don't think it takes skill. It takes skill. It takes skill to be a driver. I'll tell you, I raced for a couple of years on a dirt track, and I'll tell you, it takes skill. It's not easy to go out. Yeah, you can drive fast on a highway or a back road. Okay, that's completely fine. But try and go on a track with 30 other cars
right,
and try and win a race and tell me how hard it is to drive that many laps with that many cars going that quick.
right. Yeah, I mean that's people not understanding, not being educated on what they're talking about, and they're just kind of throwing it out there. Oh, that looks easy. I could do that. Uh, I'm here to tell you, no, you can't. Um, it takes training. Everything takes training. These are professional athletes that we're talking about, and whether they're driving a car or swinging a bat or throwing a football,
They're
they're
professional athletes.
they're professional athletes, and they've trained for this their entire lives. So, I mean, give them some credit in their craft. You know?
A lot of these guys started racing on oval tracks,
Yeah. I mean,
on dirt tracks, and a lot of them have been racing since they were like 13.
I
and
know.
so
Like,
and so they'll tell you, like, it takes skill. It's not, you can't just hop in a car and be like, okay, I'm gonna go over to Talladega, and I'm gonna race against a Harvick and a Hamlin, and I'm gonna keep up with him. You can't
yeah,
do that.
you can't do it. I mean, it's like when everyone tells you, "Oh, it's easy." I could go ride bulls and be in the rodeo. I'm telling you, those are some of the toughest guys you'll ever
Right.
meet, and they've been practicing that since they could ride, since they could ride in anything. And it's the same with these guys, since they were tall enough to reach the pedals and be able to understand what they're doing and maneuver the car. Yeah, that's what these guys have done. So you're not going to sit there and say you're going to compete by just getting off the couch.
Right. And so going back to the actual NASCAR races for a second, I don't know if you got to see any of the race this weekend at Talladega, but the interesting thing about this one was Talladega this weekend went to 3 overtimes. This was actually the longest Talladega that they ever had in the history of Talladega. And Denny Hamlin happened to win this one, the longest Talladega ever. And like, they had 13 cautions. 13.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it took forever, because this race, like, pretty much all the playoff contenders were all wiped out.
Yeah.
This they were wiped out. And I think that's where people get misconstrued too, is they're like, you're seeing a lot. Yeah, you see a lot of people race like, oh, it's a left turn. Yeah, but you see a lot of wrecks. You really do. And it's kind of, and I hate to say it, but it's like when people are watching NASCAR, that's almost like what certain people look for. They're all like, I want to see that wreck. It's like, I know you want to see it. I know you do. Um, but since some of the bigger names, retired and haven't really, like Earnhardt Jr., a Jeff Gordon, do you feel like since they have retired, like NASCAR's taken a step back?
Yeah.
It seems like people aren't with it as much as they used to be with all the big time names.
No, I think that's true. But yeah, there are those lulls in sports. I feel that there's other sports that have had those once in a while. A couple of big names step out, and there's not any name recognition at that point. But it'll come back. Everything always comes back to where it was.
So right now, if you had to choose your winner between, let's say, Hamlin, Harvick, and Elliott, so you have your 1, 2, and 3. Like I said, you have Harvick, who's 20 points behind, and then you have Chase Elliott, who's 44 points behind. Who do you take right now? Who would be your favorite to take this all? I know Hamlin's in the lead, but it's only by 20, so it's still pretty much anybody's game.
Yeah, I'll take Harvick. I think Harvick. That's probably being somewhat sentimental or being a homer, but um, the guy's just been around forever. I think he's deserving of it, and I think he'll work hard. He'll get it done.
And I like to go with underdog, so I don't know. For some reason, I'm gonna go with Chase Elliott, and the only reason I'm going with Chase Elliott is because virtually, like I said, this whole year we've seen Hamlin and Harvick just dominate, and so
Mhm.
I think it's time for somebody else to step up and say, hey, hello, I'm right here too, and that guy has to be Chase Elliott. So I'm gonna go Chase Elliott at the end of the year is going to be able to leapfrog Harvick and Hamlin.
Yep, I can see that.
All right, so that was it for NASCAR. So now our final subject of the night is basically we're just going to kind of be tossing the ball around, just kind of hitting on miscellaneous things with football here and there. Uh, so,
But before we get into football, real quick, I just want to because I know that the NBA finals are going on, and we know that everyone's going to be celebrating that. But
mhm.
I don't want the WNBA to get lost in that. And the Seattle Storm defeated the Las Vegas Aces yesterday and won their second championship in 3 years and their fourth overall. They now are tied all time for the league lead in championships. Um, and let's not take anything away from those, the WNBA. That it's a great league. Everyone needs to support it. Everyone needs to watch it. It's a great game. And by the way, Seattle did not. It wasn't one of those last minute shots that they won the game. They won pretty handily. I believe it was 94-65. Like they handled their business. So yeah. But yeah, just so getting that out there. ASAP Network congratulates Seattle Storm on their championship.
all right, so jumping into that final topic of the night, we're just going to be kind of tossing the ball around, hitting on some miscellaneous things around the NFL. Uh, my first question is, the other day we noticed after Houston played Minnesota, Bill O'Brien was fired. At what point does Adam Gase get fired? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, it was the same question when Hugh Jackson was coaching the Browns. It's like, man, how much money of this are you going to take? It's the Jets. Who knows? He should have been fired already.
And here's actually
But
something interesting, and I don't know how many people know this, but thank you. Okay, so I don't know how many people actually saw this, but Sam Darnold is not starting in the next game. The actual person that's starting for the Jets in the next game is actually Joe Flacco. So they have Joe Flacco starting for the Jets in the next game. So maybe Flacco can turn it around for him. I don't know, because right now this Jets team is a mess.
yes, um, I mean, I can't even give you a high point, a highlight. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Well, I guess
Um,
the highest point I would say right now is that they are getting Le'Veon Bell back. So I
and
I
he's done
guess
what for them in the last 2 years?
I get your point, but I'm trying to find a highlight here. And so the only highlight I can say is that yeah, Le'Veon Bell is coming back, and Kathy Barker. It's good to hear from you too. What's up? And I hope you guys are having a great night. All right, so
Thanks for the support.
and so yeah, I really that's really the only highlight of the Jets that I really have. What would it be like right now to be a New York fan of like either team? Holy.
I don't know. Because if you look at all New York as a whole, like the one good team is the Yankees.
I mean, the Mets are kind of hit and miss too. They can be good, but that's here nor there. But so when you look at this Jets and Giants team in New York, if you're a New York fan, which one do you say is better? I mean, the Jets or Giants if they go up against them,
I'd
it'd be tough.
flip a coin. But I don't know. I don't know. I really don't.
So I heard this interesting thing today, and you'll probably know exactly who this came from when I say it. We were talking about MVPs. And this individual that I was talking to said, I want to know why Prescott's name is not in the top 4 list for MVP when they go. He leads pretty much every statistical category there is in the NFL. This is the one thing that I told him. Like, do you realize that in every single game going into the fourth quarter, Dallas was basically getting manhandled and they were losing by a lot in almost every single fourth quarter. So what do you have to do when you're losing by that much going into the fourth quarter? You have to pass the ball.
Yeah.
So in a way, those
So
numbers are kind of overinflated because, you know,
so was this someone that we both worked with?
yes.
Yeah. So Randy Cox, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you that the reason Dak Prescott cannot be in the top 4 for MVP is because if you remember a quarterback who's still active in the league, I believe he's playing with the Broncos now as a backup. His name is Blake Bortles. Okay. And even in a season when they were getting decimated 40-0 in every game, he threw for 4,700 yards and 36 touchdowns.
Right?
Need I
Like,
say more? And that season they went 4-12. Do you think he was considered for the MVP?
no.
No. So there's your answer. I mean, you got to win games. Period.
I agree with your takeaway there. So, the next topic I want to hit on when it comes to NFL, and I've kind of been talking about this to quite a few people, just random friends that I know, and maybe some family and stuff. When you look at when you look at fan bases around the NFL, who would you feel worse for at this point? Would you feel worse for a like NFL fan of the Lions, or would you feel worse for an NFL fan of the Browns? Like, which one would you feel worse for over time? Over time,
Well, over time, the Lions have been a worse franchise because they've had better players. You're talking about a Lions team in the 90s. Let's just break this down for a minute. Lions team in the 90s never had great quarterback play. I mean, Matthew Stafford's their greatest quarterback ever.
mm-hmm.
Let's not even pretend. But they didn't have great quarterback play. But you didn't need it because you had a guy named Barry Sanders. But also on that, you had Herman Moore, you had Brett Perriman, you had Johnny Morton, you had Brett Jones at tight end, you had Robert Porcher, you had Chris Spillman. Let's see, who was your cornerback?
They did have Darius Slay at one
Yeah, they had
point,
Darius Slay at one
and
point.
Dre Bly.
They had Dre Bly. They had Champ Bailey at one point. The list goes on and on and on of all these guys that you've had, and you've done nothing with it. Nothing. At least the Browns have an excuse. I mean, at least they came back in 1999, and they've only had 21 years to be bad. The Lions have been bad for like 70 years now. Like, what? I don't even know what to say.
Right? No,
And
I
Matt Patricia's supposed to be this defensive genius, and he's won, what, 7 games since he's taken over for the Lions?
it
Maybe
might
10.
and it might be time to send him packing. It's close. Like, the guy has to be on the hot seat. He has to be.
it's a repeat of the 90s for them again. I mean, they had a guy in Barry Sanders. They wasted his talent. He retired because he didn't want to get beat up anymore. Then you had a generational wide receiver in Calvin Johnson. And he basically said, forget this. I'm out. Forget this Mickey Mouse organization. I'm out of here. And now you're wasting Matthew Stafford. And we both saw that thing last week, and I forget where you sent it to me from, but it said basically it said that the Lions as an organization have wasted Matthew Stafford's talent. And there's
Well,
been no one that's done worse than that, except possibly Atlanta with Julio Jones.
no, it said Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Because it said who has taken more money from a franchise and done nothing, and they go, oh yeah,
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. So hitting on the quarterback spot for a second, I don't know if you actually saw it today, but we're gonna jump over to the Washington football team, and today it actually came out that Ron Rivera has decided to bench Dwayne Haskins. Now, here's the surprising thing. So he's benching Dwayne Haskins. Now, because he's benching him, he doesn't say, okay, we're going to go ahead and roll with Alex Smith. No, he's choosing to roll with Kyle Allen.
Yep.
So, this is kind of a puzzling decision to me. Is it that maybe they're seeing something with Alex Smith in practice that they're like, we don't want to put this guy on the field because we're not taking that chance? Or is it that they're like, you know what? We traded for Kyle Allen. We got to get Kyle Allen in there. He's younger. I don't know what it is at this point, but I feel like they would have a better chance at winning with Alex Smith. But maybe he's just not healthy. I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't known what Washington was thinking since they named their team the Washington football team. And nothing they've done since then has made sense.
When
I
I saw that Haskins was benched, there was a part inside of me that for a second I got excited because when I was going to open it up, I'm like, oh, is this the time? Is this the time? Like, and you probably felt that too. You're like, maybe this is the time we're going to see Alex Smith back on the field, and then you open it up and you go Kyle Allen, and you're like, oh, bummer.
Because I'll tell you this: if Alex Smith plays one snap this year, he just won. It's the greatest comeback
ever.
story in the history of the NFL.
It has to be because the guy almost died. The guy almost lost his leg.
Yep. Yeah, unreal. Just unreal if he comes back. And I think he's going to. I think Kyle Allen's going to play. He's going to be Kyle Allen. Let's face it. And when that happens, then you're going to have to go to Alex Smith.
Yeah, because when Ron Rivera before the game on Sunday told Dwayne Haskins, he said, if you struggle, you're on a short leash, and we're going to bench you. Now, his numbers weren't horrible. I mean, he was 20. I think he was like 27 of 40 for 300 and some yards, 0 touchdowns and 0 picks. And you're going up against the Ravens, so you didn't turn the ball over, but you didn't throw any touchdowns either. So I guess it wasn't a horrible game. So I don't know.
But if you throw the ball 40 times, you better throw for 300 yards.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a crazy.
So I was looking at that stat though, and I was looking at the stat that Dwayne Haskins had last year, and then the beginning stats this year. And the difference is Kyle Allen, when you look at his stats in his career, he's got 17 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. So you're taking a guy out who's turned the football over a lot, and you're replacing him with another guy who turns the football over a lot. I don't understand.
I don't understand either. But again, it's the Washington football team.
All right, well, We are on the hour mark now. So since we're on the hour mark, that was pretty much all I have to say. If there's any other questions, feel free to ask us. You will see us again on Saturday. Tomorrow, on Thursday, is actually Real Talk with Freddie and Chris and
Freddie's on
Nate.
vacation.
Oh, correct. Freddie's
So
on
we're going to
vacation.
have Logan on tomorrow.
So tomorrow will be Logan and Chris, and actually Nate is actually on that show too. So yes, Logan is filling in for Freddie. So we'll see him. And I'm not sure about Friday yet. We have not gotten that far yet. And then you will see us back again on Saturday for our normal ASAP Sports Minute with jaymac and Ace.
Yep.
So, is there any final words for you?
Let's watch some great football this week, some great sports. Let's hope Atlanta can pull it out in game 3 and move on to the NLCS.
Hopefully, this is our year.
Yep. Watch some sports and let's have some fun and let's get it done.
All right. So, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming on the show tonight and watching and leaving comments. I want to thank you to Kathy Barker. It's been a long time since we've heard from you. Hello. Thank you, Suzanne, for sharing it. It's awesome. Thank you, Vicky Schaefer, for all your comments. It was great. Thank you for everybody who watched tonight, enjoyed our show. Please share it, like our page, buy our shirts. We have our merch out. There's going to be some more merch coming. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up on our page at any time. Don't hesitate to ask. And it was great to see you guys, and we will see you guys again. Have a fantastic night.
We out.